Today we're talking about 5 reasons why INFJs are first admired and then ghosted. Every single INFJ has experienced this. People have an intense reaction once they meet you. Sometimes negatively, but sometimes it's a very positive reaction. People actually start admiring you. You feel like, oh, finally somebody who thinks you're special. And then before you know it, that person, turns around, ghosts you, doesn't want to have you in your life. They don't want any contact or anything of that sort. And it seems like every single time this happens, we're completely shocked because we don't know what happened when at first they had such a positive reaction to us. So today we're looking into 5 reasons why this happens to so many INFJs and what we can do to completely change that dynamic in our lives. Before we get started, a quick reminder, the next INFJ Epic Life Bootcamp launches May 6th. So make sure you're on that waiting list. You get access to the early bird price and get notified once we go live. Everything you need to know about bootcamp, what that entails, you can find in the links in the description. I'm looking forward to seeing you there. Reason number 1, we attract narcissists. So this is not something that is, a rule, and if you're an INFJ, you're going to attract narcissists your entire life. Like every single one of those reasons is something that we can reverse, but it's something that we have to be aware of. At default state, when we haven't really worked on ourselves too much, we tend to go into the codependency route, which is all about making somebody else feel special. We are helping others solve their problem. We're acting towards them in a way of, oh, I think you're special and I see you. That's the way the INFJ, talks to people in any kind of way. And of course, this attracts narcissists. And narcissists, by default, need you to admire them. And at some point, guess what? You're going to be a human being. And the moment you're turning into a human being, the narcissist is not getting what they signed up for. And at first glance, it seems like you're really feeding their ego. And once this is not happening anymore, no wonder they're gone because they're looking for their next victim. And very often this seems very hurtful to us because what we actually see is a person who's in desperate need of love and, affection and just respect. And we were just trying to give that to them. But we have to be aware of, that we were doing that by minimizing ourselves. If we start talking to somebody, we need to be as open about ourselves as we possibly can. That does not mean that you have to tell them all your insecurities or all your hobbies or anything like this. It's just about not making yourself small. Because if you do that, you're not going to have this dynamic with narcissists to begin with. Narcissists are not going to be interested in you. They're not going to admire you. They're not going to look at you as somebody who can finally give them what they need, because you're just not giving that to them. You know that would be enabling behavior, and you're not going to, try to make somebody feel better when there's no reason for that. Like, we all want to be kind, but it's not about, making that person feel special continuously, although they're not being kind to you or anything like that. So the first step is cut down narcissists from your life. Stop looking for people who are going to be a project and who can be uplifted by you. We want people in our lives that we can talk on eye level with. And if that's not the case, then we're taking on a mentorship role or anything like this, but we're not pretending like we're friends or we're equals. But in the back of our mind, it's actually a project and we're trying to fix that person in one way or another. Reason number 2, we're playing a role. Every single time you play a role, at some point, your true self has to come out. You cannot keep up that role forever, and you don't want to. Very often we meet somebody and we play our role, as in we know what they want to hear, we know how to show up. It's not like we do that with bad intentions or anything like this. We just think, oh, that's how I'll make the other person feel good. And also that's the way how they're going to like me. I'm just, being cheerful and, just being a positive human being. But in the end, we are playing a role. And every single time we have that reaction from somebody and we actually want this relationship to continue in any kind of way, what do? We actually want to shed our layers. We want to become more true to who we are. And we sort of feel like that person has already seen our true selves because we, on some level, think we've seen their true selves. But that's not the case. 99% of all people who you've met in such, an intense scenario where they liked you at first glance, and you feel like you know them actually intimately, as in you know their soul and who they are on a deeper level, they have no idea who you are. And it isn't just because they cannot read minds like you can, like you can, oh, I can see that person insecurities or what they're all about. It's not just that they don't have that ability, but on top of that, you're actually not showing all of those things that could make other people interpret you. So they believe you're the role that you're playing. And the moment you start, shedding that, they're saying, oh, I don't like that person. That's not the person I thought you were, because I like the version that you played for me. This is very painful, but at the same time, important to recognize, because once we understand that, we can really go about it in a way of, I'd rather be disliked for who I am than to be liked for somebody that I'm not. And then we can stop playing roles to begin with just to make people like us, but to say, that's the way I am. That's, how I would want to be liked in the long run by somebody, and not just like this, quirky role I can, play for a couple of minutes. No, this is who I truly am. I'm not that funny all the time. I'm not that witty. I don't come up with like all of these great funny things to say. No, this is who I am. I also am serious in certain situations, and I like who I am. You by default are not going to have these reactions of extreme admiration and then like, ghosting or something like this. But you're going to find people who actually appreciate you for who you are, and then this can build into something more. Friendship, work relationships, intimate relationships, whatever it may be, but it's not based on some intense interaction that you had for, a short period of time that doesn't really reflect who you truly are and who you want to be liked for. And that actually leads us to reason number 3. We very often show up with intensity. We do that because we need some kind of outlet. Very often, if INFJs live in a box in some kind of way, meaning we're restricting our life, we know there's so much potential to us, what we could achieve, who we could be, but for some reason, we haven't really stepped out of ourselves. We feel like life is happening outside of us. I felt like this for decades. And, once I really changed my life and transformed it and did all the steps that, also the INFJ Epic Life Bootcamp is based on, everything changed. Because I learned that I have this deep desire to live out intensively. And in the past scenarios, if I'm in this little box and I see one outlet, maybe a person that I could have an interaction with, I'm going to put all my intensity into that. And that makes people really excited at first, but it overwhelms them very often. And they say, this is too much for me. Like, I cannot handle this. This is too much at once. Altogether, I don't like it. It makes me nervous because I feel out of control. And that is one of the main reasons why people back off, because they don't like to feel out of control. And so what is the solution here? Well, the solution here is to know that we need an outlet. And, using that outlet for our intensity in, maybe one-on-one conversations with a certain person, from time to time is not going to cut it. It's not healthy and it doesn't lead to the results we want. We need to live our life intensively. And when you do that, all of it becomes intense. And so once you have interactions, they actually become less and less intense. They become just one more thing that, improves your life or something that you don't want in your life or whatever it may be, because you have found like an overall outlet for all that energy you have. And you're not, pushed into the corner and having to look for like that one person that you can exchange that intensity with. The funny thing is, once you start living intensively, it really doesn't feel like it anymore. Like, I remember before I, changed my life and before I did all of those things that really transformed who I am, how I show up in the world, how I see the world, I thought, this is shocking what I'm about to do. I'm going to, do something nobody else has done, and I'm going to step out of the norm. I'm going to not have any connection to the real world. Like, it really felt so weird for me to be myself and to do those things that I considered so intense, as in, I'm going my own path, I'm stepping out of the norm, all of those things. Now that I've done this for so long, there's nothing so intense about my life from my perspective. That's just how my life is. I just don't have the urge to let out that intensity in certain ways because I feel I'm suppressing it all the time. Reason number 4, we hide our strengths, and mainly our mental strengths. Very often when we meet somebody and that person, really admires us or adores us or really, really likes us, it's pretty much based on us making ourselves small, dimming our light, and putting so much light on the other person, as in, oh, I think you're great, I admire you. For most people, that seems like, oh, that person admires me because they look up to me, they think I'm stronger, they think I am more capable, whatever it may be. And in most cases, that's not the case. The INFJ does not think that. The INFJ makes themselves small, dims their light, because they think that is necessary in order to make that other person shine. So what we're actually doing, we're hiding our strengths. And the moment you step out of that, the moment you do something that is in your best interest, or something that, is making sure that you're all right, the other person actually sees, oh, that person is much stronger than I thought. And, they played me. That's how they feel very often. Or they are shocked and they don't know how to handle it. Or they feel just intimidated by that. That's when people back off very often, because they're too insecure to deal with you on your real level. And I mean, think about it. That's why you dimmed your light to begin with. If you didn't have to dim your light in order to have like a natural positive interaction with that person, then you wouldn't be in that scenario, right? So if we dim our light, that means we're hiding our strengths, and at some point we're going to bring that strength out. People are going to recognize that we actually had it all along, and it's going to be one more reason for them to say, that's too much for me, I'm gone. Again, if you show up with all that you are, if you don't dim your light, the people who cannot handle it will stay away or will stay at a distance, and the people who can handle it will come closer. And those will be people that you're probably not even aware of at this time. Very often we think, once I do that, I will, push everybody away. Nobody could handle my intensity. But that's because the way we've shown up so far, the way we've built our life up so far, is based on the fact that we, on some subconscious level, think we have to make ourselves small. And therefore, we also attract people who, think the same way, that we should be that small. That's what they need us to be in order to feel comfortable. And when I say we attract people, it's not just some law of attraction kind of thing. It's just natural interactions that happen based on how you show up in the world. Some people are drawn to that and other people are pushed away. Simple as that. Reason number 5 why people admire INFJs and then ghost them is because we uncover their insecurities. If we can show up in a way that will make them feel good, it's because we know what not to do. We know, what things to praise, what things not to mention, and so on. We can read people very easily. So we know in what areas we could encourage them, how we could flatter them, and we also know very often where their insecurities lie. And so therefore, at some point, this will come out. You cannot pretend like you don't know their insecurities. So it's not just about you have played a role so far, they thought you've misguided them. It's not just about you having made yourself smaller and weaker than you actually are. But on top of that, you know exactly what they're most afraid of. You know exactly what they're trying to hide from the world the most, because those insecurities are so deep that they don't even know that they have them. They don't even know that this is something that they would react so harshly towards. And so once they understand that you know those insecurities, and again, it will come out at some point. It's not that you're going to go up to them and say, oh, I know that you feel weak in certain areas. It's just your behavior will show it one way or another. If they're trying to fight back, for example, or they're being mean to you and you act like the bigger person because you are and you really can take it, they understand, oh, okay, something is not right here. Most people react a certain way and the INFJ doesn't. People understand that you know what's really going on deep within them when it comes to the insecurities. And they will run faster than, anything you can imagine in order to protect those insecurities. This is a human thing. It's very normal. And we've all done the same thing. We're just not aware of it. Those insecurities are so deeply connected to inner wounds and it sort of feels like death if we would uncover them. So it's just natural that people shy away from that. And if you really get to a place where you confront them with those insecurities, it really feels like, you know, a psychological death, but it actually brings out, you know, the best next version of yourself and of the other person. I've experienced this as well, where I've had interactions with people, you know, they first admired me, then ghosted me, but then on some level we stayed connected, and, you know, I, in the end, you know, showed them I know exactly what your insecurities are, and that's why you've been acting this way. And it really transformed them completely, but that entire process was so painful for me. It was so painful to watch them go through that, so that I've learned I'm never going to do this again. I'm never going to pretend that, you know, I'm weaker than I am. I'm never going to, you know, go into the depths of somebody else who hasn't invited me there psychologically, because this is not my battle to fight. Every single person has the right to hold on to their insecurities. Everybody has the right to uncover them at their pace. It's just on us to make sure that we're protected and we're not getting in situations that get us hurt. Remember, if you want to learn more how to create better relationships in your life, it's one of the pillars of the INFJ Epic Life Bootcamp. You know, it launches May 6th, so make sure you're, you know, on board. We're going to have a free masterclass on May 6th as well here on YouTube. Everything you need to know and how to sign up for the waiting list you can find in the description. And if you want to watch another video now that is in alignment with today's topic, then watch the video why everyone is testing the INFJ all the time.